It's 4 o'clock. Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Let me check Facebook and see if we're on Facebook. Live. Okay, so we are. Excellent. It says start live video, I guess. Oh, okay. Okay. We are. All right. Let's go back to YouTube. There we go. Hello. Hi, Crystal. Thank you for being here. How are you guys doing? I'm sitting somewhere else today. I'm facing the window, so hopefully you guys can see me. Say hello, and where you watching me from? You know, I'm in Panama City, Panama. Okay. Hello, everyone. Say hello. Oh, I had 2 Spanish classes today. And then, you sit there and you're trying to get topics for more classes. And I got my smoothie. I made a papaya smoothie today. So hopefully, you just left Panama City. Oh, how was it? How did you like it? Did you have a good time? Most everybody who comes here and have a wonderful time. There was only one person who was like, "What? I'm not impressed. I don't know what all the hoopla is." And I was like, "Oh, loved it. Yes." All right, everybody else, just tell me where you're watching from. I'm here in Panama City, Panama. You know that, right? Let's just wait a few minutes and give a few people some time to gather themselves. It is Saturday afternoon, and I don't know what plans you may have. So I thought maybe we would experiment with 4 p.m. That way we could do our business, and then, you guys can. Connecticut, Elizabeth, hola, bienvenida. Yes, wonderful. I tell you, this internet and technology is amazing. I know I was interviewing this sister from Tanzania one time. Well, she had a time with the internet, and we ended up doing some kind of recording, and then I posted it. It was crazy. I also interviewed someone from Indonesia, and she's like 13 hours ahead. So trying to figure out, the time where she can have sunlight, and it's not easy, I tell you. Yeah. So Elizabeth, you are in Connecticut. Are you thinking of moving to Panama? Anybody who kind of has Panama on their radar, just let me know. And also, where are you in the process? What's the phase? Your research phase, right? Um, Elizabeth, Crystal said they were here in Panama. Crystal, was it part of your scouting trip or you were just visiting? I'm meeting more people. You're looking to move next year. Wonderful. So was that your scouting? You were just checking it out to see how it was, how you feel? I was going to tell y'all that I'm meeting more people who come here sight unseen, just research from wherever they're at. They pack their bags and they come. I don't particularly, recommend that, but some people have done it and it's working for them. So I got nothing to say. Okay, good, good. Good afternoon. Denise, my friend, how are you? Channel member, awesome. You have helped me with my decision to move. Oh, I'm so glad. I do meet a lot of people who say that I've helped them or inspired them. So I'm very grateful and humbled. And I'll tell you my story. You know my story, but I'll tell it again. I am fine, Denise. How about you? And Denise, tell me where you are again. Are you what state? I forgot. I can't keep up. My memory is not what it used to be. No, that's for sure. All right. Those of you on Facebook, I'm so glad you are tuning in. Let's see. Okay. But anyway, I don't want to keep you guys long, but I want to tell you in Georgia. That's right. That's right. Ari in Florida. We're in Florida. My home is in outside of Orlando in Florida, and I was there in February 2027. Awesome. Mount Dora. Yeah, beautiful little place. Very artsy. Yeah. I used to work in Central Florida, and I used to cover Sebring, Lakeland, Winter Haven, so Polk County, Hillsborough County. Um, what are the other counties? Well, Clearwater is that county, and then another one where the a lot of Greek people are. We used to be. So I used to travel all over the place in Central Florida. I did home care, and I was a manager there. But anyway, you guys probably know my story, but I want you to write down if you have specific questions. And thank you for joining. Brandon, yes. Okay, yeah, I used to get there too. I say I retired early at 62. When you like hit 60, you start thinking about retirement. I was not zeroing in on any particular place. All I knew was that I had a desire. You do home care. Oh my gosh. Wonderful. Yes, I was a home care manager and I own a home care company in Lakeland, Florida. But then, of course, our license covered the Tri County. But anyway, I wanted to go to the continent. I had never been to Africa, and I said, "Well, let me go check it out," because I wasn't ready to retire, but I thought in my head that maybe I could do a business there because I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I kind of like working for myself. I don't like to work for people. And I tell people that once you work for yourself, it's very difficult for you to work for someone once you become an entrepreneur because you know how to do things. As an entrepreneur, you wear all the hats. But I personally enjoy the challenge of creating something, like researching, just like you're doing for Panama, doing the research and then making the decision. Oh, thank you so much, Denise. Yeah, I like that. It matches my hair. I hope my poofs don't bother you. Some people don't like my poofs. This lady said, "We're all grown here. It's time to lose the poof poof." And I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry you don't like it. I like it because I haven't done anything with my hair. I'm doing natural." But anyway. So after I had COVID, I was working as a nurse manager, supervisor at that time. And I recovered, thank God. I was in the hospital for 4 days, but 3 or 4 days, but I wasn't on the ventilator and I've had none of the major late effect of COVID. Independent contractor, hey, good for you. And hola, life lesson, Janice from Minneapolis, wonderful. You'll be in Panama in September. Yay! Good. 2 weeks is good. Three is better, if you want to really get a good idea. But anyway, don't worry about it. So I did go to Africa for, I think I was like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and I went to Ghana. I stayed in Ghana for 3 weeks actually, and then when my decision to see if I could do something in Ghana, just like I don't think it's going to work. I said, well, let me check another country that did not require a visa. Hola, Kalel. Hey, you got paid such a breath of fresh air. We got you. I certainly am interested in looking at. Hey, wonderful, wonderful. Let me tell you, Panama is on the map because I was at the mall this week. I saw so many of us. I was like, wow, a lot of people. But of course, Panama also has a program where if you are traveling, you're in transit. Let's say you go into the US or you're going somewhere else and you make a stop in Panama with Copa Airline, which is the local airline that is owned by Panama, they allow you to stay in the city, for so many hours. They don't charge you anything. And then people coming in, they're shopping. I mean, they are shopping. Lots of people here. So the word has gotten out that Panama is such a wonderful place to be. But I want to continue telling you my story. After I left Ghana, thinking to myself, no, I don't think it's going to work. The whole mentality, I wasn't going to be able to work with that. So I said, well, let me go to Rwanda. Let me go to a country in Africa where they don't require a visa. And when you go to Rwanda, I think I paid $50 for the visa on arrival, they call it. And I stayed for about a week, and I did not get that connection either. But I had come to Panama the year before. So when I came home, I was like, hello, life lesson. You'll be scouting starting 9/5. Yeah, almost there. Next week is September, right? So I said I had come to Panama in 2019 as a bucket list item, just say I wanted to see the canal. Who doesn't want to see the canal, right? So you laid the knees. No, you're not late, my love. You're fine. Did you already say how you make your smoothie? No, I didn't. I did not. This is nothing fancy. In this smoothie, I eat papaya every week because papayas and pineapple are the most abundant fruit here, along with the sandia, which is watermelon. But when I go to wherever I get them, I can't ever get a whole one because it's heavy. And I don't want to carry all that. Although I could buy the cut up ones, but I don't like that. So it's pineapple. I'm sorry, pineapple. Papaya. I use evaporated milk a little bit. I didn't put any additives. Usually, I would put ginger and I put cinnamon. That's for sure. And what else? What is it? Vanilla extract, and that's all that's in here today. But you can do a whole lot more with this. But it's really good, refreshing. So I had come to see the canal in 2019, and I remember like it was yesterday. You come. I had a lady ask me this week, "What do you do in the first month when you come to Panama?" This is what you do. You plan out your stay. I tell people that's why I said 2 to 3 weeks is best, right? Because you've been tired, you've been running and ripping and running. I said the first 2 days, stay indoors and sleep and rest. You can order Uber Eats. We have that here. And wherever you go, find a little convenience store. We call them mini supers. When you go to those places, you get fresh fruit, you get water, you get drinks, you can get some sandwiches. Just relax. Allow yourself to. Because this is the thing people tell me when they get to Panama, there's something in the air that automatically relaxes you. Because you have been ripping and running, and then the whole mess going on over there, you're stressed out, you're worried, you're on edge. So when you come here, you want to relax. Okay, so take the 2 days. Don't come here today and then the next day you're out there ripping and running. Allow your body, your mind to rest. So I had come and I scheduled my time. I scheduled some tours. Then I love to self-discover. I don't like to be taken around. Now, if you have limited amount of time, and that's why some of those relocation tours work. Some people don't have the time nor the inclination maybe to do the research themselves. They want somebody to take them around and say, you do this, this, this. Excuse me, you do have the 7-day relocation tours. And then even those tours now, you can hire a private driver and tell him, I had a sister who said she did the research, she looked at everything, she didn't want the city. She came, she hired. I mean, you're contacting those people while you're over there to schedule whoever's picking you up from the airport, where you want to go, which neighborhood you want to visit. And when you get here, then you hook up with that person and they take you around. You can do that too. Some people hire a driver for a specific area. Some people hire a driver just for the day. Take me to the different neighborhoods where the expats live. They can do that as well. Okay? Frederica. Hola. Is it my sister here? Deborah. Oh, Deborah, you got home. Thank you. But anyway, I made 3 visits to Panama before I came for the 4th one. First one was just, vacation. Of course, I went to the Panama Canal, and then I stayed at the executive suites. I know exactly where it is now, and enjoyed everything. Walked everywhere, and then did another tour. It's called Monkey Island. Monkey Island, because one thing you have to know, one of the many things you need to know about Panama. Panama is tropical, right? We are between Costa Rica and Colombia. So there is a lot of vegetation. There's a lot of greenery. There's a lot of effort in natural conservations, not only of the flora but also of the fauna, which is the exotic animals. And yes, we have lions and crocodile here. We have those too, and we got monkeys in addition to the sloth, right? So I was sitting. You get on a boat. They pick you up from the hotel, and then you get to the edge of that river, which is close to the canal. And then your guide, you paying your guide, and they take you along the vegetation on the right, and the monkeys are in those trees. And then they have a specific sound that they make to attract the monkeys. And the monkeys then come, and then some people are allowed to feed them, or the guide is feeding them bananas, and then you get to take pictures. And sometimes they come in the boat. You can get some really good shots. But I was sitting there in the boat after the tour, and I was like looking around, looking at the sky, the water, the monkeys, and this feeling came over me that, oh, wow, I really like this place. But at that time, it wasn't to retire, it was just to come back for a visit. So I tell people that, hi, from Maryland. Yay. My daughter was in Maryland for a while. Now she moved to DC. And my daughter was visiting not too long ago. She was here. But anyway, this is what my connection to Panama. I was there to visit, and then it's like my soul connected to Panama. And that was before I went to Africa, right? So when I went to Africa, I remember when I was in Ghana, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. Can't believe I'm here. I mean, I travel a long way. But since my business, I realized I couldn't do anything there. I was like, let me come back to Panama. So I made 2 more visits to Panama. And every time I came, I went other places and I ate more food and I spoke to more people. And my soul said, yes, I connected. So I was ready to retire, and again, if you've watched my video from last week, I didn't say, okay, I will retire on this date at age this. Because in my mind, a few years back, I'm a workaholic. I'm an entrepreneur. I love to create. I love to work. I don't see my work that I do for me, as work. Because if you love what you're doing, it's not work, right? So you end up spending a lot of time. I remember on Saturdays, I would come to the office. There would be nobody there. I would have some music playing. I was like, I'm in the zone. Let me tell you, I'd be productive, I'd be creative. I absolutely loved it. But I was working as a nurse practitioner after I had been to Rwanda and Ghana and Panama, and started thinking in my head. And one day I was stuck in traffic, and I was sitting there saying, I'm so tired of this. I said, I'm getting old. I don't want to sit in this traffic for an hour and a half, and being on the highway, you put your life in your hand, crazy. I said, you know what? I'm 62. I think you can retire at 62. Let me go check this out. And that's how I ended up retiring at 62. But since I already had Panama in my mind, it was an easy transition for me. Hi, Janae. I had a sister ask me, what is the first thing you do when you want to retire in Panama? Of course, I haven't retired or lived in other countries to tell you, but I think one of the things you need to do, and that's why I kind of recommend that people don't rush to make the decision, even though sometimes, especially right now in this environment, you may feel pressured or you feel so tense and worried. It's better to take some time, you know what I mean? And go away for a little bit instead of rushing to make a decision that you don't think it through because that could be dangerous, right? So you need to find out, why am I retiring to this particular country? What are my must-haves, right? What about language? How am I financially? Have I lived abroad? The people that I see here who said I was, I'm a military kid, we moved around a lot. Those people, it's a lot easier for them to adjust because that's what they've done. These poor kids who keep going to different schools. I mean, it's not, all rainbows. These kids struggle with making friends because they're always moving from one place to another. But when you move to a new culture, you have to prepare yourself for the acclimation that you're going to have to adjust to. Some people can't take the heat. The good thing about Panama is that we have microclimates. You can have the beach, you can have the mountain, you can have the city. You get choices. And why Panama? Oh, Panama, we've been reading about Panama. It's a beautiful country, but it's not perfect, right? You have to be able to adjust to things that are different from where you are. Don't have your expectations way up here, right? And the good thing for you is that there are people like me already here who have paved the way, who have done it. So make sure I do have that self assessment. Are you a self starter? Can you live among people who don't look like you? How are you going to feel when people are speaking a language you do not understand? Um, some people see Panama as a third world country. It is not. It is not. It's not perfect. It doesn't have the bells and whistles, but it has so much more. Can you adjust to the food? Are you a meat and potato person? We have meat and potatoes here, right? You can cook it the way you want. Um, are you going to be upset if you're walking down the street and you see garbage? We have that here too. So make sure you do the self inventory to see, am I suited for retiring abroad? The other thing, you look at your financial situation, how easy it is to meet people and find about, oh, easy. Crystal, what you do is that from over there, you start looking for the Facebook groups, Panama Facebook groups. We have multiple. Sign up for as many as you can and read the comments. When people ask questions, that's how you learn. You should have a notebook of notes that you take. Everything that somebody might have asked that is of interest to you, you write it down. Or you can organize your that's what I did. I organized my notebook into geography, food, history, social, and then when you learn something, you put it in that category, and that's your Bible because that is the information that you want. And then you ask to become a member. And then if somebody is making a comment or whatever, and you feel a certain connection, some people would say, hey, I'd love to talk to you off of this Facebook group. Do you mind if I DM you? That's how you start connecting, even before you get here. So when you come here, my phone number, my email is on my Facebook page, Single Women Retiring Abroad. You go to the YouTube channel, I have my email and my phone number there. So at the most, at the least, if you have a question, people have come and say, oh, can you tell me blah, blah, blah? Yes, I'm happy to tell you. So you need to start making those connections even before you get here. Okay? And I know people are worried about, the rent. They're worried about the rainy season. They ask all these questions, and they're valid questions. but you have other things to ask. Hey, Maggie, um, to your channel, but love your content introducing us to Panama. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Um, so do that self-assessment. Look at your finances, okay? Do an inventory and find out, how am I going to support myself in this new country? Now, the best, not the best, one of the good things about Panama is that you have dollar to dollar. There is no conversion. You don't have to kind of always in your mind trying to convert money. You don't have to do that. We use the dollar bill, 5, 10, 20. We use those. We use quarters, all the coins. The only coin we have here in Panama is what we call the Balboa. I don't have one with me. It's like the size of a quarter, but a little bit thicker. You got a light yellow color to it, and that's a $1 coin. That's the only thing I see here. So if you go to a store here in Panama, you have a $20 bill and you buy something for like $18, chances are the change is going to be in Balboa. They'll give you two other coins, the extra $2. So you're going to find that. But they do have the quarters, the nickels, and the dimes here. So that's a good thing. So look at, are you in debt? How much debt do you have? Because when you're doing your budget, which you should have, and we're going to go over maybe some basic numbers, because I'm in the city. I can't give you information about Boquete or Gorgona. You can give you a ballpark, okay? And of course, in the city, things are always a little bit more expensive. I went to the fish market today and I was like, yeah, the fish is a little bit expensive, but still nothing compared to where we come from. It's still definitely better, okay? So watch how much debt you have, because with your budget, your whole budget, right? If you're doing scouting trips, you got to include that in there. Airfare, Airbnb, food, transportation, and you should always have some emergency money when you move, when you are visiting a different country, right? My brother was there. I had visitors for the last few weeks. And how much money do I need to bring? Well, you can use your debit card here. If you go to a restaurant, you flip out your debit card, no problem. They don't charge you extra. If you go to the ATM, they're going to charge you extra for drawing money out of the ATM, dollars. If you have your debit card, you have a regular credit card, they take all that here. Okay? So for cash, unless you're going to use like a taxi, and we don't recommend you get into those yellow taxis as a visitor. People have gotten into all kinds of things here. Download Uber on your phone before you get here. Download WhatsApp. Everybody uses WhatsApp here. For business, for social, yes. WhatsApp is free. Even when I was in Africa, it worked. Okay? So you only gonna need cash. Let's say, I don't know, if you want to buy some souvenirs from the little people on the side of the road, right? Or if you go into the fondas, like the small little eateries where they don't have access to credit card, because every time somebody uses your credit card, they get charged too. I used to get charged. All right, so it's not really in their best interest for you to keep using credit cards all the time. So you only need minimal cash. And of course, they don't want you to bring a boatload of money, because then you're going to have to declare it. In Panama, a lot of people from all over the world park their money here. It's a financial center. So all these tall buildings you see that look like you're in Miami Beach, they're financial centers managing people's money. So because of that, they try to do a good job of checking the source of the money. So if you're coming in here with like a $20,000, yeah, they're gonna stop you and ask you all kinds of questions, and then they're gonna have to put your name in the FBI, Scotland Yard, and just check, make sure there is not too much money laundering here. Okay, so that's why when you go to open a bank account, it could take you a day or two, because they have to do a lot of checks. All right. So make sure you look at your budget. So your budget, again, that's for your scouting trip. How many scouting trips? That's, the cost goes up. And then you got to look at the moving itself. Oh, this is so exhausting. Getting rid of stuff. And I tell people that was the most emotional part of the journey for me is getting rid of stuff that I had spent time accumulating. You know, my china set, all my kitchenware. I'm a cook. I'm a chef. All the things that I bought, all my gadgets, because you like. I can't bring people come here with 6, 7 suitcases. Don't do that. People are like, oh, I got to bring my furniture. I got to bring my book. I don't think like that because let me tell you, in this stage of life, I have embraced a minimalist lifestyle. The less, the better. I don't want to bring all the stuff that I have over there and bring it over here. If you want to do that, sis, do you because you can put stuff on a ship and they call it a certain thing, pallets. You could do pallets, you know, but they charge you. Some people say, I got to bring my car. Well, if you want to, but it's going to cost you, right? Because they have to carry it over here, pay taxes and all kinds of things. I just did not want I don't want all that extra work. You work a Holocene too. Let the bank know before you visit. What happened with your credit card, Elizabeth? I've been using my credit and debit card. I've had no issues, but I do have a Panama bank account. But I use my US bank card here all the time. Hola, Maribel from the United States. Wonderful. But anyway, so make sure you budget, you know, wisely. And then with all the expenses you have getting over here, but when you get here, what is a decent budget? I tell people in the city, you need between $2,200, $2,500 a month, right? Listen, that's my budget, and I don't live extravagantly. I think where you could spend a lot of money, I'm in a nice apartment, you know, you pay 15, $1,800 for it, but you can be in an apartment that is less than $1,000, right? It's not going to be all the bells and whistles. There's a lady here called La Trevia, and she's showing people apartment for 450. I don't even know where that is, but I know I wouldn't want to live in a place like that. Personally, as a senior, as an older woman, I want to live in a high rise with 24-hour security. I don't want to be going in my house and worried about where I'm going. I want the security that somebody cannot come to my door unless they've been checked downstairs. Those strangers can come and knock on my door. I need that peace of mind for me. So you make the decision as to where you want to live. Some people say, well, if it's cost $1,500 a month, I'd rather go to Bukete where I'm paying 600. Yes, you can, and you will find it. But for me, Bukete didn't work. It didn't speak to me. That's why you have to know what is important to me. If you say, I need to be on the beach, you can do that. And you're probably going to spend probably about the same amount of money I'm paying. I don't have the beach, but I do have a water view. You don't have to have a water view. Some people like to have the Parque Omar in San Francisco. They prefer to have that. Some people prefer to have a city view. It's up to you, sis. You have options. Electricity, there have been a couple of horror stories I have seen here. People had $500 bills. But I think usually what happens here, when you sign an agreement with a landlord, and the landlord here usually are the owners, even though you might live at a high rise, when they say PH, that means these units are individually owned. And a lot of the owners are not local. They just have someone to manage the property for them. So let's say they send your lease agreement to the owner. He signs it electronically, sends it back, and everything's good. And then your question should be, who's going to be paying for the electric? Now, because these owners have been dealing with expats a lot, they might say, well, we'll keep your electric in our name and you just pay us monthly. My very first apartment, I did that. It was only a 6-month lease. So the owner paid, but every month she would email me the bill to show me what it was. And she would send it to me with the paid, that she paid it, and then I make a transfer to her account. And that's another thing. In Panama, the banks don't give you checkbooks. We don't have that. When you sign up for a bank account, you leave with your debit card in your hand, which is what you use for transaction. So for your rent, for your electric, for your cable and internet, those are all done electronically. And for your landlord, you just do a transfer, local from your bank account to their bank account. That's how we pay. Some people use Yapi, which is a app for a particular bank here. There is no money exchanging hand. I hear some people say, I have to go into well, I don't hear anybody say that now. I have to go to the ATM and pull the money. If you don't have a bank account here, every time you use an ATM with a US card, you are limited to I think 250 per day. Let's say you have a rent of $1,500. How many withdrawal do you have to make? Right? So it's like 250, 250. It's just too much trouble, right? And every time you do it, there's a 650 charge. And of course, you've heard that if you have a Schwab account, Schwab is going to reimburse you your fees. But just get the bank account, sis. It's a lot easier. Okay? So your electric, what happens with a lot of these people is that if the owner wants to keep the account, sometimes they forget to pay the bill. That happened to a sister in my building the other day. She said, "Oh, we have no electricity. I guess it didn't pay." And this here, they don't send you late notice or we're going to cut your service. They don't have that. They just cut it. So you have no electric. So you need to make sure that the owner, whether he keeps it or not, that they're showing proof that they are paying it. So I think if they had like a big bill, and also when they switch it to you, if you want to switch it to your name, you got to make sure that there's zero that balance. You go to the office, zero balance. They sign, you sign. That way you start with a clean slate. Plus, if you are a senior, jubilado, when you get your uh, what is it again? When you get your residency card and then you get your ID card called the jubilado, e-cedula, when you go to sign up for the electric, you get 25% off. Those are the benefits of this particular retirement visa, that we get discounts for everything. So I know in my chat for single women retiring abroad, I suggested that people make sure if the owner is keeping your electric, that you have proof every month that he's paying it. Or if you want the discount, say, no, 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 I want the account turned to my name. And then you go to Netergy, which is the office, and then you get your discount. I went with my owner to switch over because I was like, I want my jubilado discount. I want 25% off. So we did everything. And the first bill came, they didn't give me the discount. Well, the next day, I walked my little self over there, because I can speak Spanish. And I'm like, this is what we agreed on, and I don't see it. Oh, sorry. And this is what we say jokingly in Panama. It's very hard to do one thing and get it done the first time. You usually have to go back and make sure it's done. Traveling, I have been cancel if I didn't notify the bank. You mean your bank in? Yeah, La Trivia moved to the country. Hey, Nana, how are you? Well, I wish her luck, but this is not for me. She inherited some dogs and chickens. To me, that's work. Not for me. And I don't want, I don't know. I feel like when you're around a bunch of vegetation, bugs and little critters, that's one of the things that really stressed me out in the Peace Corps in South Africa. I would wake up and there would be a spider the size of my hand on the wall. Oh, I freaked out. And then I could not rest at night. I sleep with my phone in my hand, fitfully and looking. And every time my eyes pop, I would have the flashlight and I'm doing this on the wall just to look for the. And then I said, I can't do this for 3 years. I can't. I could not. I was stressed out. So I think as an older person, I ask my ladies, and I'm like, when you are an older woman of a certain age, you're in 60s, 70s, you're moving here to Panama, you need to be in a place, first of all, that you feel safe. I want not necessarily the pool. I want to make sure there is security guard 24/7. Okay. And I need it to be walkable. I want to be able to come downstairs, take a Uber, take a bus, take a train. I am 2 blocks away from the metro, 2 blocks away from a bus on the side, bus across the street, and I ride them all the time. Okay. I can go to the store. It doesn't take me half a day. I want the conveniences, but most importantly, it's a healthcare. You want to be sure that you are close to doctors and hospitals. I can walk 2 blocks here, and there are 3 hospitals on this side. If I can walk like maybe a mile or so, they have 4 hospitals on this side. You want to be sure you have access to your doctors. So again, you got to know what's most important to you. Um, I spoke to a sister this week. She said she doesn't like the city. She wants to go to the beach area. I said, I understand that. It's beautiful to see the beach, the water is not what you want. But she was a bit older than me. And I'm like, you don't have a hospital there. There is a clinic there that closes at 4 o'clock. So if something happens to you in the middle of the night, you're going to find someone to drive you an hour to come to the city to a hospital. Got to think, ladies. We are at an age, if we decide to move to another country, it can't be just for the bells and whistles, the birds, and all that is great. But can we be practical? I think it's important. I mean, hey, we all grown, we make our own decisions. But in the little group that I run, this is something I tell them about all the time. The traffic here can be so crazy, even if you call an ambulance, it might be difficult for them to get through to get you to the hospital. So, in your mind, you have to say, well, there could be delay in care. There could be a delay for them to take me to a doctor. If you are having a heart attack, chances are you might not make it. You got to think about all that. So death and everything should not be something that scares you so much because you choose to make this decision. You have to understand the restriction that might happen with your location. I was in Ghana, of course. I stayed in Accra, which is the capital. I was doing an internship at a hospital that was like 20 minutes away. And the traffic, oh my God, traffic in Accra. You think we have traffic here? It was worse over there. So I knew, and then I was going to Cape Coast, which is where the dungeons and took the slaves. We were going there, so I hired this couple. They were husband and wife or boyfriend or whatever, and they were driving crazy, and I was at their mercy, right? So I'm sitting there, every time I turn, I'm holding, praying all the way, and I said, you know what? If I get into a car accident here, I'm probably going to be roadkill because there is no helicopter coming to take you if you're in a trauma to take you anywhere. You got to think about that because you may not have the amenities. And I had heard horror stories about Accra, people wanting to go to the hospital and the ambulance wasn't available. I'm like, mm-mm, mm-mm. So you really have to think, yeah, the discounts are pretty good. Your so that's your rent, from 1,000 to maybe 1,800. We have places that are beautiful, like Costa del Este, Santa Maria over here, still in the city, are the places that are most expensive. So you could pay $2,500 a month if you want it. And if you can afford it, sis, go for it. Go for it. But in my apartment here, I'm like, well, I didn't need all that because most of us come here and we're like, oh, we're going to get 2, 3 bedroom because the grandkids are coming, so and so is coming. I'm here over 2 years. This is the first time I've had visitors here. So don't go rent a big place thinking they're going to come visit you. They may not. So save your money. We have plenty of Airbnbs here. You can still love them and, get together, but they don't have to live to stay with you. So don't let that be the deciding factors for whether you get a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. You can manage your budget better. Now, my friend Nana over there in Colombia, she bought herself a unit, which is great. Let's see. So, electric, if you manage your electricity better in the city. In the country, people don't pay a lot of money for electric because in a place like Boquete, temperature 60s, 70s, you may never have to use electric except, I don't know, for the light. So some people have like $10 a month electric bills, right? But here, when we out of rainy seasons, like by December, it's gonna start getting hot because we're the temperatures are reversed here on this side of the equator. So it's hotter in what is winter for you. So when it's hot and muggy, you need to have, your AC on. They don't use a lot of fans here. I'm from Florida. I have a fan in every single room, and that helps keep the house cool. And if you're like hot-blooded and you like it cool all the time, electricity is going to be expensive. But for me, the way I manage my electric, because I had central heat and air, and that broke down like 3 months after I moved in here. And I'm like, I don't like it that cold. It's okay. I don't mind. And each bedroom has a unit, the ones that are on the wall. I forgot what they call them. They had them in Africa as well. And then you have your remote, and you can turn it on. Like before I go to bed, I turn it on. I like the room cool before I go. Before I fall asleep, I turn it off. And I'm good. And then a lot of us now are using fans all over the apartment, so that keeps the electric down. So I used to pay between 75 and 100. Now I'm down to 45 to 55 per month. The other bill you have is your cable, and some people have cable and phone. I only have cable and internet. I pay like $45 a month, right? And if you have a bundle, it might be 75 with your cell phone, with your cable and internet. For my cell phone, since I have a different plan, it's like $32 a month. Some people say they pay even $20 a month. So you do the math, right? And your other bigger expense is food. Now, I don't eat meat really on a regular. So if I go to the store, I could pay $50, $60 if I'm buying like, I don't know, tomato product. I don't like can anything, I go natural. What else would I buy? I don't know, paper good, things to clean and stuff like that. And then I go to the fruteria, which is where you buy the fresh fruit and vegetables. And let's say you spend $10, $15. That's a lot to buy papaya, watermelons, your fruit, bananas and stuff. And remember here, the mindset that you have to do your weekly, go to the store, buy food, we don't think like that here. Things don't last forever because they're not preserved so much. So vegetables, you can go to get those 2, 3 times a week. And especially you can find this one over here, this thing over there. You don't go into one store to do your shopping because you know where to get the okra. You get where to get. Now I found the Swiss chard. I know where to find that. So you're retired. So look at it as the excursion. If you have to go here and there and there, and that's why people have these rolling carts. I refuse to buy one because I tell them I think it's. I said it screams. A senior citizen. I said, I'm not a senior citizen. So I have bags and I have a backpack and I put something in my backpack and I carry my bag. And that's what I do. And I love to walk to and from the stores. I know people have cars. I mean, the only time I feel a little bit annoyed that I don't have a car, and if I go shopping, not food shopping, let's say I go things for the house or some things and I have to carry it, that's the only time. But I just take it outside and call it Uber. I don't need a car. And I'm in the city, right? If I was like outside the city, I probably would need a car. So your bill for food could be between 200, 250 a month without meat. I don't eat meat, so I save money with that. But plus here in the city, we have a meat market and a food market, so you get better prices and better quality here. Anything else, you guys? Food wise, not food wise, clothing is super cheap here. Life is very casual. I tell people when you come here, bring a couple of nice tennis shoes, walking shoes. If you're going to be in the city, you've heard about our sidewalks, how fancy and dangerous they are. So, so don't come here trying to show your toes and stuff. We're older, we're seasoned, safety first. Protect your feet because you might step on. I was walking yesterday and somebody smashed something and there was glass everywhere. That's why I wear my tennis shoes. You want something with a nice sole so that if you step on something, it's not going to go through your foot. You know, I'm a nurse. I've seen people lose their feet from a nail getting in there, you know, through the boots. They were diabetic and did not feel it. By the time they realized it, it was really too late. The card does not say senior citizen. I know. Are you the person who's always telling me to get one? I know. I'm not getting one yet. That's just my decision. My backpack doesn't hurt my back. I just don't like him. It's a personal choice. And then my friend who lived in Paris, she's like, "But I had one in Paris." I said, "Go ahead, go ahead." I just don't want one. I don't have any back issues, so I'm just putting it off. I know eventually I'll get it, but they look small. I don't think we can carry that much in there anyway. Um, Mini split AC. That's it. That's it. Um, what else? So the other good line item on your budget would be social. You know, people are social here. They go out and eat. They go for breakfast, and they have stuff at night. They go to the rooftops. They go to listen to live music, and they go to shows. My social life is very limited, right? So you need to put a line item. Let's say you want to spend $200 a month, and then once you spend it, then you need to stop, right? So even as a senior, you can really blow your budget if you're not careful. So the other thing I tell people to put on their budget is just some free money for just miscellaneous, right? What if something happens? What if in your contract there was something you're responsible for? Like in my contract, I'm responsible to clear the AC unit twice every 6 months. So I got to pay for that. So you got to make sure. And also for your health uh, costs, your visit to your doctor to get your teeth cleaned. There's no insurance for that here. If you want to change your glasses, you got to pay for that out of pocket. And even if you have, and we'll talk about medical in a second, even if you have this Medicare Advantage plans that we recommend, and we had a sister in our group who experienced that a couple of weeks ago, and she wrote a long article about how it went. So we are grateful that we can do that, but that's for emergencies only. If you get the flu, people are getting COVID now. You want to get your shots, you know, for a shingle, you're paying out of pocket, even though they are affordable, but you need to budget for those. So I tell people on your budget, do like maybe $200 a month just for miscellaneous medical. Okay. And you need to have a credit card that has a limit on it because if you go to a hospital, that's the first thing they ask you for. It's like a retainer. They take your credit card and they put like maybe a blanket, 500 or $1,000, and then they start care. Because if they don't know how they're gonna get paid, they're gonna have the ambulance take you to a public hospital. And even the locals tell us here, do not go to a public hospital because the wait is can be long. And you know, delay in care is what can kill you. So let's see what else. Ask me some questions. I'm trying to think. You know, language. If you're thinking of moving to Panama, start doing some Duolingo or Rosetta Stone or something like that. I don't know how well people are doing with that because I know I'm teaching Spanish now. And oh, today they did so good. I was so happy. I'm so proud. And I said, God, I can't get discouraged because, our brains are older, so it makes it harder to learn. Um, Charlie Dolly, the cute, colorful, just plain black. Woo! They're even sexy, huh? God willing, I plan to visit Panama early 2026. Very good. The mold. I've never had an issue with mold, but this is something to be aware of. And what we do is preventative. So if a place, very few have fans, leave the fan because the dry air is going to help. Whenever the weather is good here, I'm in front of the water, so there's a lot of moisture, so that's when I have to be careful. If the sun is shining and it's not too hot, I open the door to let some sunshine in. And most of us have multiple dehumidifier units all over the house, right? In different rooms. I remember I was here in my other apartment, I had no issue. This apartment, I think one day I was looking at my shoe rack and I have a pair of black pumps and I started to see a little something on that leather there. I'm like, I like that. So I ran to the store and got a dehumidifier, and you can hang them in your closet. You put them in your bathroom where you have a lot of moisture, and just put them around the house. But the biggest change or chance for mold is if you go away and you don't have someone come in to air out the place. Also, when you turn your AC on, it's good to get rid of the moisture because this is what's keeping the mold. So when I was gone for a month, I had a sister come once a week. I gave her my key and I told the security downstairs that I'm going to be gone, but my friend's going to come once a week with her son to open, turn the AC on and open the doors if they can and just make sure. I told them where to look to see if there was anything. So one lady said the first time she came here, she didn't know about the mold. And she went home for like, I don't know, maybe 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, and there was nobody coming. There was no sun. All the drapes were closed. Woo! When she came, boy, oh boy, oh boy, there was mold everywhere on the wall. And when you see something that looks really brown and suspect, we have people who can come and do a test for you, right? This is in our resource guide. So if you go on any Facebook group, you ask people, they'll tell you, right? And they'll come and test it because mold can be dangerous. So again, prevention is the key, okay? And it doesn't matter if you're in front of the water, just the fact that it's a tropical country. When it rains, we have a lot of rain this year. The rainy season has been very rainy. So you're going to always be aware and look around and check your stuff. In your closet, hang the damp red, they call them. You could just put them in between your clothes. And you see the water that comes out of these things. It's serious. I have the little ones like that, and then it's just a canister that comes out. When I look at to see how much water I'm dumping in the sink from this little thing, that humidity is serious business, okay? So be careful. I'm from Florida. If you go away, just set your AC to 80 degrees. Well, we don't have that here. My AC unit cannot be set to anything. It's like you turn it on and you turn it off. It's not one of those auto things. And because most buildings here have those split AC units, somebody has to physically turn it on. Yeah. In Florida, I never had any issues with mold. As I said, I had fans everywhere. And then every time the weather was good, my windows were open. So there was lots of fresh air going in. What kind of bugs do you see the most in the city? I don't see bugs in the city. You don't see bugs in the high rise. Once in a while, because I leave the door open, I'll see a little baby lizard. And I said in one of my posts, it's like, I saw this little baby lizard on my timetable. I'm not sure it up and I killed it. Somebody said, you killed a baby lizard? I'm like, yeah. I don't want the baby lizard to come into bed with me. And if there's a baby, there's a mommy and a daddy. I'm like, no. Mm-mm. So I'll see a little small lizard every so often. Because I'm on the 38th floor, you guys. So sometimes I see the big black, I don't want to say if they're hawks, flying. And I'm like, what if one of them just kind of loses its direction and flies right into the house? Woo, that would be crazy. But on occasion, I'll see a pigeon type bird, maybe with a broken wing or something on the patio. And then I remember my other house, it was there for like a couple of days. And I went downstairs and I'm like, there's a pájaro. That's what they call the bird, pájaro, on my balcony. He said, bring it down. I'm like, I'm not touching it. And when I went back to look, it was gone. So you could see a bird with a broken wing. I see no mosquitoes here. The higher up, the less likely, because mosquitoes like your ankle. So they stay down and where water is sitting. So if you live on a lower floor, some people are like, oh, too high. I can't do the height. I'm like, well, it's not gonna be easy for you to be in the city, because if you say, well, I can only do up to the fourth floor, you might have to go outside the city. There's a place called Panama Pacifico that the buildings are like, I think up this fourth floor, but it's very quiet. And then, there is nothing to do. I couldn't do that. I need to have access to things because I don't drive. I want to have access to the theater. I want to get on the train. I want to get on the buses. I want to go to the mall. You know what I mean? Instead of having to call someone to take me somewhere, I'm just too independent for that. But if you can't stand the height, then you have to really think about maybe not the city, right? So the lower you are, the more likely you're going to see bugs. That's why if I were to move a place like Boquete and other places, people have had scorpions in their showers. And what else do they have? Well, we've seen a lot more crocodile in the streams lately. um, Iguanas, lots of iguanas in those country areas. People have shown mountain lions in the dark at night, jaguars, um, I guess snakes like El Valle, where the place is wet a lot and they have a lot of vegetation. Yeah, the closer to nature, more bugs. But we have had a problem with dengue here this year, which is a mosquito borne illness. Okay. So when you come to Panama and you're going to hang out in the evening, make sure you spray yourself, spray your ankles, um, because I think we've lost a few people to dengue here. So be careful. But in the high rise, I don't see any. I don't have roaches. I don't see mosquitoes. Nada. And I like it like that. That's me. Oh, your Spanish lesson online? Yes. Oh, my Spanish lesson. I just posted something today. I have been speaking Spanish since I was in middle school. Okay, because that was something that was required when I was in high school and middle school. So when I came to the US, I could write Spanish beautifully, but I needed the training for my ears. So within 6 months, it was no issue. And I've lived in New York, lots of Spanish people. I lived in Florida, lots of Spanish people. And because of my profession, I needed to be able to speak to my patients. So I took Spanish for healthcare professionals. How do you do an assessment on a person who speaks Spanish? Would you ask them, where does it hurt? What kind of medication you take? I had to do that. But also when I was in Florida, I just love the language. Okay. I've always loved Spanish. So I made myself stay around Spanish. When I lived in Florida, and of course I did home care. So I was in my car a lot. I listened to books on tape and all that. But on my radio, I had two stations. I had NPR, National Public Radio, and then I had a local Spanish station. So I was always around Spanish. And then every night I watched my novelas. Oh, I had to watch my shows in Spanish. So that has helped me maintain fluency. And when I came here, it was a natural progression. So I do my Zoom classes online, on Zoom. And I was at 4 classes, now I'm down to 2. Because I'll tell you, a lot of people feel discouraged when they're learning Spanish. They're not learning it fast enough. And I keep telling them, your brain is aging. You haven't learned anything in ages. It's going to be hard. You really have to put in the effort and immersion. We talk about immersion. A lot of people come here and they're hanging out with the expats. If you're going to lunch, you're walking with them, you're playing pickleball, that's not immersion. And the only time you want to speak Spanish is if you get into the Uber and they ask you the código, they ask you for the code, and you say 3, 4. That's not speaking Spanish. If you're in an emergency, do you know what to do? There's a sister here who, people say, oh, you don't need to speak Spanish. Everybody speaks Spanish here. Yes. When you go to the restaurant, the waiter who knows 10 English words, he can't wait to use them on you when you're trying to speak Spanish, right? So you don't get a chance to speak even to the waiter. But this lady said she used to believe the same thing until she ended up in a hospital. Most, not all, of the physicians here have trained abroad. So a lot of them, I know one sister was in the hospital, her doctor came in, she was an ENT, and she was trying to appeal that she speaks English, but the English was really broken and very, right? But that's the exception. The rest of the staff, the nurses, the technician, nobody speaks English. So in your time of need where you don't feel good, you're having to use Google Translate to communicate with your worker to say, I need pain medication, I need this, can you fix my bed? So learn the language, stay out of the bubble, make yourself go in the community with the people. Go to Cinco de Mayo where they're selling to the market and ask how much things are per pound, and then figure out the money and all that. That's immersion. And always I tell them, leave the TV on all day. You don't understand it, that's okay. But let your ears get trained. So when somebody wants, we do one class. Our classes are 1 hour, but I never finish in 1 hour. Today, my 10 o'clock class, it was like 11:54 when I started. I'm like, oh my God, I have another class coming. So I send you a link and we join in. I do a WhatsApp group for each class where I do some vocal, I do some phonics, I give them assignments, and we meet for an hour once a week. And the way I've been doing it, I can send you information, is very, very, very affordable. But there are other classes here. Some classes are like in Casco Viejo, El Cangrejo. People are going to class several times a week. I could not stand there and teach someone for 3 to 4 hours. To me, that's just too much. And I don't think your brain, as an older person, can absorb that much, right? And also, you can take classes here at the University of Panama. Universidad de Panama, they have classes that you can take like a regular course 3 times a week, and you take tests and all that. But my classes are Spanish conversation. I want you to be able to introduce yourself in a social setting, ask for help if you need help, how to go to the doctor, how to go to the store, ordering food in restaurant, the basic things, okay? Even to be able to, when you're sick, que le duele, where's the pain? You need to know your body part to see where you where you're hurting, right? So it's a safety issue to me for you to learn to speak. You don't have to be fluent and speak like the locals. No one expects you to do that. And I tell the ladies, haven't had any guys yet, it's for you to understand what's being said to you and to be understood. So we're working at them losing the fear of opening their mouth. People are very self-conscious. Oh my God, it's not going to sound right. They're going to laugh at me. No, they don't. Nobody laughs at you. They might smile. People smile a lot here. They might smile just thinking it's cute that you're trying to speak Spanish, but not that they're making fun of you. Come on. No. All right, anything else? I read there is a rash of dengue. We've had dengue here. Have you heard anything about? Yes, I just mentioned that. Yeah. But Panama is a developing country. Do not call Panama a third world country. People get upset about that. Don't put labels on on the country. Panama is beautiful, but does it have its challenges? Absolutely. And inequity? Absolutely. When you go to a neighborhood, if it's spanky quickly, you're not going to see trash around, things, water outages. And that's another thing for your building. When you're looking to move into a building, you need to make sure they have a backup generator and a backup water tank. I have both in my building. Another thing that's important to me as a cook, I'm a chef. I've never liked gas stoves. I don't know why. And in the States, we have explosion every so often, people dying because of gas explosion. I like my electric. And I know, oh, the gas is better. I understand that. But remember, as an older person, safety should be your biggest concern, not how nicely it cooks your food at this point in life. Ladies, come on. So people have died with gas explosions here in this building. My building, after the last explosion, all the owners got together and decided to make this building all 64 floors fully electric. So I don't have gas in my building, and I love that. If I ever were to live here and I'm like, I need the same thing. When we have power outages in the city, very rarely, 5-10 seconds, the generator kicks in, no problem. Now the internet is another story because that is not controlled by the building. So you know what I read the other day, a few weeks back? We were having a lot of interruption in the internet. They said because the temperature was so high, it was affecting the cell towers. They were so hot, so that affected, us being able to get internet. But I'm not working. If you are working and you depend on internet, yeah, that's a concern. But I went to bed, it went out about 9 o'clock, and I got up the next day, it was on. It came back around 3 o'clock. So you're gonna have some of those apagados. We call those apagados, right? So if you decide to move outside the city, your risk of having power outages, water outages goes up. So you got to make sure you have a tank, you got your candles, because if the power goes out, because the infrastructure is not what you used to. But again, listen, I remember in New York, we had a major blackout. So it can happen. Outside the city, it's more likely that you're going to have power outages, water outages. There were some communities not too long ago that had it for like weeks. So having to bring bottled water for thousands of people, yeah, it can be tedious. So dengue is something that in smaller, poorer communities, people may not have good drainage, and there is water sitting. That's how you get, anything that is mosquito borne. When you have sitting water, of course, it grows. And they've been trying to do the best they can. They were spraying, spraying, spraying. And this community called San Miguelito, that's where they were having a lot more of those cases. And people have died from dengue here. Yes. Like they've died from influenza too, the flu. Symptoms when sick, very important. Oh, yeah. Panamanians have helped me with my pronunciation. Very good, Frederica. Sometimes they write down the words for me to practice. And if it's Frederica, I know from Abroad-SWRA, she's not shy, so it's good. And then you would say something, and then they smile, and you say, "Cómo se dice? How do you say it?" And then they'll tell you. Today I went to some Cinco de Mayo, and I don't usually eat bananas because I feel like they're a little carb heavy, but I wanted some banana for some reason, and I said plátanos, and you looked at me. It's like, I'm like, "Cómo se dice? What do you call bananas?" He told me something else that I hadn't heard, so now I have to research it, right? Every community calls things a little bit different. Like fried plantain, we say patacones here. Well, I never heard of that before because where I come from, we say fried plantain or tostones. They don't say tostones here. If you ask for tostones, they don't know what you're talking about. That's another thing I teach people when I teach Spanish, the culture and the variations and how they say things. A la orden. We don't say that anywhere else. That's how they say, you're welcome. My pleasure. De nada. We don't say de nada here. We say a la orden. You say muchas gracias. They say a la orden. I had to ask someone, what does that mean? I ordered the first time I was here, I ordered room service, and the guy brought the little tray, give me my food, and he said, Buen provecho. After they did it a couple of times, I went to someone, I'm like, can they say Buen provecho? They say, enjoy your meal. Bon appetito. It's like, bon appetit. Buen provecho. I did not know that. So when you move to a community, listen, because they may have a different way of saying the same thing. They might say it this way in Mexico and say it differently here and different in Colombia. I heard Colombia has their own little slang. So be alert. Uber Eats. Yeah, I use, hey, that's you, Frederica. Hola, my sister. I used a lot of Uber Eats when I was here visiting, but it gets a little old. And then there was a little fonda downstairs. Once I found that fonda, Fonda is a small little restaurant that sells traditional Panamanian food. You can have a nice lunch with rice, meat, veggies are a little scared, but $5. Workers go in there to eat for like $3.50, $3.99. But don't get in the habit of eating in the fonda every day. I tell people, I'm a health nut. It's not healthy. So eat at home. Buy your fresh fruits, vegetables, your produce and stuff, and cook for yourself. But here, my ladies have chefs who cook for them. You can have a chef come to your home and cook for you. I don't need that, but some people do. They're like, oh, I don't know how to cook. I don't like to cook. People have housekeepers here. My ladies are being pampered here, let me tell you. They will get their eyebrows done, their nails done, and their toes done. They have a housekeeper and a chef. Okay. Hey, you're retired. You can afford it, go for it. When I came back to Jamaica from Panama, the airport officials here had concern about any of the passengers coming back with yellow fever. From Panama? No. Panama does not require you to have the yellow vaccine. We had a rash of yellow fever in the Colombian area, the Darien, because that is the edge between Colombia and Panama, which is where all those migrants were coming through, and they were watching it. And I have to tell you, as a clinician, the health department here, they are on top of things. And for the yellow fever, they were saying they were testing some monkeys from the jungle that they were showing symptoms, and they were watching it. We don't have a major issue with that. But at the same time, as soon as they said that, they said, go to any polyclinic here in Panama. Even if you're an expat, you can go in there. I mean, I've gotten my flu shot, my pneumonia shot at a mall. You stand in line, and then they give it to you for free. So you can go to any polyclinic and get your yellow fever, go to your doctor and get it. And they're on top of it, and it's in the news, and they tell everybody. And of course, every time I hear it, I share with my sisters. So you can get your shingles vaccine, your COVID. So no, we don't have a major issue with yellow fever here. But you know how people hear something and then it blows out of proportion? No, it was only in that region there, and then they got it under control. They went in there, they tested the monkeys, and they did the blast for people to go get their vaccination. Especially, we have the indigenous people in those areas, so they made sure they got their vaccination. So no, it's under control. Vaccine requirement, it's not here, but this week, the American College of Cardiology, if you're over 65 right now, like I am, I'm 67, you recommended to have a yearly flu shot. Same thing over there, right? As a nurse, I always decline it. But now I'm older and I had COVID. So my risks are higher. So I have to be protecting myself. So yellow flu vaccine, COVID-19, hopefully you're not an anti-vaxxer. If you're an anti-vaxxer, you don't want vaccine, I can help you with that. I'm just telling you what they recommend. COVID, pneumonia shot that you're supposed to get, but not every year. The pneumonia is good for 5 years, if I recall. But they recommend too also that we get the RSV vaccine. The RSV that used to be high in children alone is affecting older people. Listen, as you get older, it doesn't matter how healthy you think you are, your body's resistance is not what it used to be. So you need more protection. Okay? So RSV, COVID 19, influenza, pneumonia, I said shingles. Shingles vaccine, they recommend that you get that too at our age. Because, yeah, a couple of ladies have gotten the shingles and it's not pretty. It's pretty painful. And I had chickenpox as a child. I can still get shingles. All right. But it's not yellow fever, it's not a requirement. I had to have the yellow fever to go to Ghana. I think Brazil, there are some people, depending on where you're coming from, where they know that those things are endemic in those communities. To enter Panama, you have to show it. I think Brazil is one of them. I don't know if there's another place. But if somebody was coming from Ghana, for example, they would want to see the yellow vaccine. So I don't work at the airport. I don't know exactly, but it's wherever you're coming from. But we here in Panama, it's not endemic here. So if I were going to Santo Domingo or whatever, you don't have to ask me for a yellow vaccine. I have it, but it's not the fact that I'm here from Panama. Requirements. Any other questions, you guys? Okay, healthcare. I always like to talk about healthcare. Now, from a safety standpoint, I told you you're in a better place if you're in a building where you have 24-hour security. A gym is a nice thing to have because you must stay active if you're not into walking or whatever. Some of the ladies in our group are doing water aerobics for like bad knees. If you have arthritis, this is best for you. I mean, I do a video Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. Remember, I did my 75-day challenge, and now for members only, we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. And I love that because it keeps me accountable, that I can say, I'm tired today. No, I got to show up, right? So you need that. You need to be in an area. It's like, where is your next hospital? Where is, I was walking in Bay Vista yesterday and I saw doctor. I remember taking a Uber to get to Dr. Duncan. And then I was like, oh, he's right there. So I can walk to his office, right? He's not my doctor, but at least I know somebody. One thing we tell our ladies too on their emergency card, which we encourage that you have some information with you when you're out there in case you fall and something happens and you're not a John Doe. They'll say, oh, this is Maggie. She lives over here. And this is her doctor. This is the next of kin. That way they can get in contact with someone, right? And Espanol. You want walkability. You want a place where you can walk through and fro. But if you want to hire people, have personal drivers, more power to you, sis. Okay? Know where your doctor is, know where your hospital is. Now, healthcare. This is a biggie. Well, those of us who are here, ask us, okay, in terms of affordability. I think I was talking to Nana, who is in Colombia, and she's about my age, and she was telling me that in Colombia, once you go through your residency and you get your card, you're able to be enrolled in the national health insurance. We do not have that here in Panama. Some other places like Portugal, and Frederica, you can correct me if I'm wrong. In order for you to apply for residency, you have to show proof of health insurance coverage. Panama does not ask you that. So a lot of us are here without coverage. And I tell people, you need to really understand because you're older. You have what? No, I was talking about Portugal asking that you have coverage before you apply for residency, right? Okay. So Panama does not ask that you show proof of coverage, even though you do have some kind of health screening before you get your residency. Panama has two different systems here. There's a public and there is a private system. The public system, that means you go to the public hospitals, you can go to the clinic, and I think there is a difference between Mensa, which is the Ministry de la Salud, it's almost like the health department. They're concerned with, like things like dengue and, and anything that affects the population as a whole. But Social Security Administration here in Panama, it's called, what do they call it again? But anyway, they manage pension, they manage giving people care and when they retire. And the retirement age here is much less than ours. I think it's 55 for women and 60 for men. When you go to those public hospitals, everything is really affordable, right? They don't have a national health care per se, like you would say in Europe. But if you go to a hospital as a local and you need something done, people are going to the doctor for like $5. You go to a specialist for $10. Very, very affordable. So if you were to be in an emergency and you call 911, we do have 911, chances are it's going to dispatch an ambulance that's attached to a public hospital. And they may want to take you to one of those public hospitals. The largest public hospital is about 2 blocks from me here. There is a private system, a lot of private hospitals that cater to people who are working, people who are Panamanians, but you can afford it, right? Who don't want to wait through and go to the public system, because what happens in the public system, because it's so cheap and it's for the popular general population, there are usually long waits for you to get care. And this week, there was a whole hoopla in the news, because I watch the news every day, y'all. There's a particular hospital in a community, I'm not going to mention that, where they've been having some problem. They were showing this young man, I think he went to have like his appendix taken out. I'm a nurse, They were showing the dressing looking yucky. They had all kinds of stuff. I'm like, it looks like he got burned. I'm like, blisters everywhere. I'm like, what is that? So people are complaining about the quality of the care. There was a hospital, people were sitting there waiting and they were fussing. This nurse got up and slapped somebody. Oh, wow, okay. And the hospital apparently was built like 25 years ago when the community was this much. The community has grown exponentially. They haven't added beds. So it could be messy. So I sent a note to my sisters and I'm saying, that's why I told you, you need to have that line item in your budget that says, okay, I have an extra $200 so that if I need to go to get my shot or go see a doctor, I'll go see a private doctor and pay out of pocket. And going to see a private physician here, people tell you the first time you see a doctor, he's spending an hour, hour and a half talking to you, getting your history, taking you off meds, because we're not used to that over there. And he spent 90 minutes talking to me. Some doctors make house calls here. Dr. Duncan, shout out to Dr. Duncan. He'll go into your apartment, give you a shot, those are the kind of things that make Panama special. The private hospitals, though, you have to have some type of insurance. Panama has some state-sponsored insurances that are affordable to families. Like I said, Panamanians sign up for those plans, and also international people. Lots of people are here from businesses that are international companies. So they'll come here for like 2 years, 3 years for a time, and then they move around. Those people access those plans. You could too if you're less than 65. Once you hit that age, In their mind, and like the mind of everybody else, is like, oh, you're going to have a slew of pre-existing condition. Nah, we're not touching you. This is a problem you need to consider when you want to come to Panama as an older person. Your options are, and of course, who doesn't have a pre-existing condition, right? You can always buy an international plan, like Aetna, Cigna, but the older you are, the higher, the premium. And some premiums were quoted $1,500 a month. Who has that kind of money? I don't know about you, I don't, right? So when you come to Panama as someone who's over 65, chances are you're not going to have insurance coverage. If you don't, and you have an emergency, and you don't have insurance, and you don't have a credit card where you can pay out of pocket, they're going to send you to a public hospital. And even though the cost of them caring for you after you wait, and you have to bring your sheets and your covers and your pillowcases, like they did in Africa. This lady was laying on the plastic until her family brought the sheets, okay? Even though the cost may be small, before you discharge, you're going to have to pay. And usually it's cash. So if you don't have it, you're going to have to call Sister Maggie, can you come help me get out of here and bring me some cash? But if you don't have coverage and you need some care, and they tell you not to go to the public hospital, you want to go to a private hospital, when you say, oh, I have this pain, and they're like, where's your credit card? They're not going to touch you until you show you have the credit card, and they put that hold on it. Once they charge you a certain amount, they say, oh, well, she may have pneumonia. It might cost $1,500, $2,000. We're just going to put $1,000 on your credit card. Well, yeah, now you can have your IV and your x-ray and everything. Not before that. So if you don't have an insurance that they can bill, eventually you're responsible for the whole episode of care. And yes, it is affordable, but it depends on what you have done. I think it was Jackie from Panama Relocation was saying this person ended up having open heart surgery. I mean, that's major surgery. $15,000, $20,000. Not on your credit card. You're going to have to pay for that. So the alternative to those of us who are older here, that $200 a month that you have on there, you go see your doctor. You get your well test done, your mammogram, your whatever. You pay out of pocket for those. Your doctor visits are about $30 to $60 a visit. You can afford that. You get your teeth cleaned, $40, right? And then glasses. Some people go back home to get their care done. But a new option that we have now is the Medicare Advantage. I've been here almost 3 years. I've wrestled with that decision. Some people say, oh, no, don't change to Medicare Advantage, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, again, it depends. If you're going to be in Panama, you're like, well, I'm going to check it out for a couple of years, and then I'm going to go back. Don't switch your Medicare. Just go and get your care done. When I do consultation with people and they're saying, oh, I have this, I had cancer, I had this, I had that, and I need to see my doctor, I need to get this done, this immunotherapy or whatever. And I'm like, sis, I don't know that I can, in good faith, tell you to come here. Yes, we have specialists, but if your health is so fragile that you need to see, and you have your healthcare team, nutritionist, your radiologist, your this, your oncologist, you probably should stay over there. But if you're relatively healthy and you don't want to run the risk of something major happening to you, remember what I always say, it's not if, it's when, right? This body is going down. We are aging. The risk of strokes and heart attacks and other things happening to us keep increasing the older we get. That's just the way life is. So one option is to switch to a Medicare Advantage plan. Straight Medicare does not cover you outside of the US. Read my lips. I still hear people asking that. Or I hear that if I move to Panama, my Medicare gets cut. That is not true. Because when you move to Panama, as you know, you should always keep an address, right? All your communication, whatever, should stay there. But if you say I'm here for the long haul, you have got to make plans, right? If you say I'm keeping my Medicare, I'm going to fly back if anything happens to me, then buy an international plan. Some people buy what is that coverage that they get? It's good for like 90 days travel coverage, right? It will cover you for 90 days after you leave the US if anything happens to you, and then they require a lot of documentation. But what I did last November, they have open enrollment from October to like sometime, I think early December or November. This is the time where you can switch from a Medicare, regular Medicare traditional to a Medicare Advantage plan. By law, up until now, you guys know how things are changing. We don't know. Up to now, by law, wherever you are in the world, if you have an emergency, your Medicare Advantage, not your regular Medicare, will cover you for emergencies. You fall, you have a heart attack, or something happens to you, you're going to be covered. Now, how the bill gets paid, you know how this insurance plan go. You're probably going to have a long haul of sending your claim, they're denying it, and you keep at it until you get paid. Jackie said she had COVID and she had a Medicare Advantage plan. I think her bill was like $17,000. It took her like 9 months to get reimbursed. But now, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, and it depends on what state you live in, what plans are available. That's why you should always talk to an insurance broker. Okay? Because you need a plan that is used to covering expats outside of the US. So you can switch during open enrollment. That's what I did. And in my state, we had different ones available, but because of my experience with United Healthcare, even after that guy got shot or whatever, but we had the least amount of problems with their claim, even though they said they were denying a lot more. But anyway, so I signed up with the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan. So now in the city, and I believe, don't quote me on that, the big hospital in David, which is the second largest city in Panama, they are not now in an emergency. Don't forget that. That's the that's the buzzword. They will direct bill the insurance plan on your behalf. That's recent. Before, it's a credit card. You pay the hospital, then the hospital will give you a claim, a paper claim, that you would then send to your insurance company, and then you hash it out with them. But now, this one hospital, Panama, what is it? It used to be Pacifico, not Pacifico. The major hospital here, that Pacifica Salud, I had a brain freeze. Pacifica Salud here in Panama, and it's about, I can just kind of look at it from where I'm sitting. They are, as far as I know today, I may be wrong, the only facility that will directly bill your insurance plan in an emergency. And they have contract with most large managed Medicare Advantage plans. But the sister who was there not too long ago said they still put a hold on her card until the staff was able to call the insurance company and get the authorization. So in order for you not to have any delay in care, you still need to have a credit card with some limit on it that they can bill $1,000, $2,000. She said they only put a $500 hold on her card. And then I think she said within 2 days they had released a hold, because then they knew they had an authorization from the insurance company to bill it. So emergencies only. Anything else is on you as an older person. There is another option in Panama City, not Panama. Hospital Santa Fe. This is a private hospital that has its own plan that you can sign on, but there are exceptions. All those pre-existing conditions, if you had cancer, you had COPD, you have diabetes, you have hypertension, they want to make sure those conditions are stable. Or they might say, we will cover you, but nothing related to those diseases. They have to manage their expenses, the exposure. So those are your options as an older expat. International coverage, Hospital Santa Fe, or Medicare Advantage plan. Because those local plans that cover the young people, they won't cover you because you're considered high risk. I know. Did that make any sense? Do you guys have any questions? Dr. Duncan? Yeah, Dr. Duncan will come to your home. He gives IV therapy in his office, and he's more of a holistic type of doctor. So he'll tell you the things you need to do and not giving you a pill for everything. And he's got good bedside manners. So he's popular with expats here. Now there is a new option in town, Minimed. Some people are pushing mini meds as an insurance plan. I don't believe it's insurance. It's like a subscription. You pay $20 a month, and they have clinics all over the country. If you have an emergency, it may not be a bad idea. If something happens to you, like at 10 o'clock at night, your doctor is not around and you need to be seen for something, Minimed is the option. $20 a month, and people say you get unlimited this, unlimited that. I have not signed up with them because to me it's a little bit too good to be true, but that's me. That's the skeptic in me, okay? But I know a lot of sisters are signing on for that. So they want to have that security that if something happens to them, they can be seen by a physician. But the doctors here give the people their cell number, their WhatsApp number, and say, call me. I don't think if you had an emergency, you call a doctor, I think they would answer you. Mhm. So, anything else, you guys? I already follow other YouTubers that teach Spanish. Okay. I'm asking it, Maggie, would you consider lecturing Spanish? I prefer Maggie. Well, if you send me an email at tellmeaboutswa@gmail.com or maggielazar@gmail.com, I'll send you the information. Yeah. I love teaching my ladies. I mean, it's work because, like I said, the brains are asleep. It's not easy. Oh, what did she say? Teaching Spanish like as an instructor? Mm. Well, I don't know. I think there was a lady who was teaching Spanish, and I think she's kind of bailing out. Is it Tasha or Stasha? I don't know. But it's work. You have to look at it more as a ministry, right? To kind of help your sister out because it's not easy. It's work. But I mean, for now, I'm doing it. How long? I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody have any other question? There's a lot of social things going on in this little city. Now, other popular area, in the city, I'm on Balboa Avenue. That's a very popular spot for expat. I mean, every time like I'm walking, coming from the metro, or I'm on the treadmill and I'm looking, I'm like, I like this area. I really do. We have a couple of sisters who live in Costa del Este. I keep going back there, and every time I go, I'm like, I do not like that place. It's just like I have to be in a place that speaks to me. I was in the El Carmen area before. I didn't like it. It was super noisy. Even though it gets noisy here, but over there it was the taxis were always blowing their horn. Oh, but during carnival and other thing on the weekend, we have the hot rods, we have the party buses. It pops here too. And I can see Casco Viejo where I'm at always having some kind of fireworks going because the president palace is over there. Noise is part of the culture. In fact, tomorrow my video is going to be all about culture, all the cultural norms. I mean, it's really, I crack myself up doing doing those videos because it's like it's not what you're used to. You just have to say, "Oh well," and then keep it moving. So Balboa is very popular. I was telling you yesterday I was in Bay Vista. I like Bay Vista. It's like an older neighborhood. It's very, you have the Reba Smith, you have Ray, you got your food stores, and you're like one steps away from the Cinta Costera. You can walk. You don't have water views, but you're close enough. And lots of restaurants and stuff. So Bay Vista is a good area. San Francisco, people love San Francisco. You can have water views or you can have city views and restaurant galore. It's a foodie town, but the sidewalks, not so good. So you got to, don't walk around with your phone while you're walking in Panama City. Look where you're stepping because you're going to fall and break something. People have broken ankles and elbows. Don't do that. Don't be cute. Wear your regular shoes, good support, and watch where you're stepping. Because sometimes there is a hole unexpectedly. It's like, what is that? Or they have these little elevations, too, so small. And I can tell you how many times I've almost fallen, just my foot hitting that. It's like, what is that? So Panama City is not known for great, sidewalks. Costa del Este, yes. Our friend who said she chose that area because of the wider sidewalk, but there are other things I don't like about it. So if you're like in a wheelchair, your scooter, here in the city would be hard. On the Cinta Costera, yes, you probably could use them, but outside of that, not so safe. Okay, so but San Francisco is very popular with expats. Um, I talked about Panama Pacifico. Panama Pacifico is like 20 minutes outside the city. You kind of need a car. Even though they're going to have a metro line, line 3, it's going to be done early next year. And they're going to have a stop at Panama Pacifico, which is an old area where the Americans were doing the Panama Canal and thing. But anyway, I know that's not for me. Let's see, around here again, Clayton. We have a sister who rented a house there. It's very woodsy and reminds you of the States and Florida. They do have some buses that pass through there, but it doesn't speak to me. But if you want like a house, they're gated. I feel like I'm repeating, I was in a gated community in Florida, and I don't want that anymore. I want to just come down the elevator and then go. But listen, like 10 years ago, I said, I don't want to go home having to take an elevator to go home. I lived in New York. I'm like, I don't want to live in the city because where I would want to live is not where I can afford to live, with the porter and the. And then guess what? I'm taking the elevator now and I am coming home. So never say never. And as you get older, your needs change, your views change. So I'm okay with it. It still feels home. When I open the door, this is my home, right? So I'm okay with that. They have a place called Edison that's kind of busy and things are more affordable. I met one lady who said she lives there. She bought an apartment there and she likes it. Where else? San Miguelito, you don't want to go there because they have issues there. Outside of the city, though, people are in places like Arajan, Panama Oeste, La Chorrera. We have a sister there, but you have to have a car and hit that traffic. There is a major highway that goes all the way from the US all the way through here, the Pan American Highway, and they always have constructions. People get stuck there if there is an accident. I just don't want to deal with that. No. But you can live in those areas and definitely more affordable. But again, as I said, you risk water outages. They have issues with water because the place had grown so much and the infrastructure has not kept up. And I think that's where that hospital was, where they have so many people. They're saying the emergency room is chaos. So if you get sick, okay. There is a place called Costa Verde in those areas as well. It's more of a preppy where people with some money live. It's like a nice little community, But to get in the city, you only have that one way to get in and out, that highway. Beach areas. Panama City does not have direct access to beaches, even though we have water views, but people aren't allowed to go. It's not a beach area. The closest beach here is Taboga Island, that you have to take a ferry and then for 30 minutes and then you go, cute little island, right? But places to live that are beach communities, Gorgona, and those are like, what is it, hour and a half outside the city, Chame, Coronado, which is where a lot of people love to live there. But again, those are gated communities. I don't want that. Oh, the beaches are stunning, beautiful, black sand on the beach, amazing. Not for me. They don't speak to me. So lots of younger families with children, international schools, yes. But retirees are mostly in Gorgona, beach areas, and apparently they have a nice little community there. San Carlos is another area that expats stay at. But I guess if you're interested, you'd have to find people and see how they like it. You know, if you like solitude, and yeah, I find that I want to be around people. I don't want that much solitude. I have solitude here in my house because it's just me, right? And then you go opposite directions. They have some other smaller communities on the beach. You're still on the Pacific side. And then you go to places like Las Tablas, you go to El Valle. El Valle is like in a volcanic crater, so it's very lush and green. But remember, you have mountain views, gorgeous. And then you're in the valley, lots of rain, lots of craters. Not for me. But if that's what you want, it's there. They have a lot of people that are in touch with nature and spiritual, whatever, healing and stuff going on there. But gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh my God, beautiful place. Then you go to Penenome. Penenome, I fell in love with Penenome, but again, small community. They do have a couple of good hospitals there, but water issues, electric. Then you go to Chitre. Chitre is like in Herrera province. Panama has 10 provinces. Panama City is in the province of Panama. Then we have Panama Oeste. Then you have Santiago. You have Herrera. You have Chiriquí. And you have other ones, Veraguas, Bocas del Toro. All these are different provinces with their own little flair, right? All those smaller communities struggle with things like water and electric, and but cute, cute. Chitre is very calm, but because the country is just like a long stretch, you're never really too far from the beach. Hour and a half. Bocas del Toro is God's country. That place is so pretty, but I wouldn't want to live there. Mm-mm. Everywhere you go, you have to be on a boat. I don't like water that much. Water taxis, no, not for me. I stayed in a house that was on stilts. It's like, can the crocodile come up there? No, not for me. Mm-mm. But the beaches are stunning. The water, oh, listen, we went to a beach, and I think one of the ladies I was with ordered lobster. The guy went in the water and picked the lobster and cooked it. Don't get any fresher than that. God's country. So Chiriquí, David, as I said, second largest city in Panama. It's definitely cheaper in terms of rent and other things. They say it's super hot. Can't figure out why it's hotter than Panama City, but they do have a nice community of people there. Some buses, transportation, not so much an issue. People hire private drivers and they do okay. Boquete, the mountains, beautiful, bird watching and hiking, not my kind of thing. I go to Boquete and I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. And I'm like, what else is there to do besides listening, watching the little hummingbirds come? I need more than that. Not for me. And then I even got as close to Costa Rica border, Puerto Almuelas, which is close. And what do they call that? There's another little community there. Not for me. That's why you have to go and come and go to different places in the city to see where. But David has a really big hospital, so you would be close to a hospital. Boquete is about another hour from David. So if something happens to you in Boquete, somebody has to bring you to David. They do have a clinic in Volcan. They call it a hospital. They call these places hospital, but they're not open 24/7. How can it be a hospital? I don't understand that. Okay. But they have a nice clinic there. Oh my God, Tierras Altas. Let me tell you, Panama is a beautiful country. When you're in there, the air is fresh. It's different. You have Volcan Baru, which is like a dormant volcano, and that's where they grow most of the food for the country on the western part, and onions, potatoes, all this thing, and the cattle. And when I visited the first time, I was like, I'm moving here. This is too much. I'm moving here. And then I was coming down and I'm like, okay, you're a single woman, you by yourself, you're going to be in a community where you're alone. No bueno, not safe. So I'm like, nope, not doing it. But that's me. Okay. Yeah, very quiet. And they have other communities outside of David. Because again, if you, I was talking one time about the budget, and this lady said, well, some of us are here on much less money and enjoying life. Yes. They have some beaches when they say they have the thing that bites you, people are saying how bad they get bit. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to live on the beach and then be bitten by all these bugs and stuff on my legs. And I'm kind of almost allergic to bites. When something bites me, I would scratch it until it bleeds and it leaves a scar. And no bueno. Mm-mm. Okay. The Panama Clinic now takes Medicare Advantage. I have Minimed as a backup plan to my travel insurance. Yes, and Minimed also said that they bill Medicare Advantage. I don't know how that goes because Medicare doesn't pay for outpatient anything, and it's like a big urgent care to me. So, but everybody is, and Minimed is doing a really good job at marketing their services. I'm not signing for Minimed because I felt like I can go see my doctor. I don't need to do that. But that's me. Everybody needs to make their own decision. The traffic going to and getting from Costa del Este, oh yes, and the drainage system is not good. With so much rain we've been having, floodings. You can get in and out. And then during rush hour, you can hardly move. Coming in or getting out of Costa, I don't like Costa del Este. I'm just telling you. And somebody said, but I like it. I said, I'm glad, sis. Not for me. It did not speak to me at all. Plus, it looks very kind of sterile. I need neighborhood feel. I didn't get that. Isn't there a place there called 21 or 21st December? There is an area. The other day, I don't want to say I get lost, but sometimes I'll get on a train and I'm like, oh, where am I going? Right? And I was trying to return somewhere, ended up at 24 de Diciembre. That's an area that kind of reminded me of Cinco de Mayo. And I said, I'm going to return there because I got off there to turn around to come home because I had gotten on the wrong bus or train or something. And then it's popping. People are moving, the energy. And I bought 3 pineapples there for $1. I'm like, I need to go back there. I like places like that where I can get a bargain. Plus, when I first came to Panama, I would get on the bus and I'm like, I go to Albrook and I look at the sign. I'm like, oh, I haven't been on that bus yet. And now I don't have a lot of time, but I used to just say, oh, let me get on there. So I would get on the bus, right? Because you get your card and you can go anywhere. And then, as the bus is going, like, oh, I can get over here with that bus. I can go over there. And then I just wait until everybody's gotten off that bus. So I'm like, is it the last person? So I get off too. And then I walk around, and they look at me. Some of these communities, they don't see people like me. I'm like, oh, hola, I'll look around. And then I cross the street, take the return bus, and then come back to the station. That's how you see the country. That's why I've been to places like Siesta, Chilibre. I remember the last time I got one of those buses, I kept looking, and then finally the driver got into one of those stations, and they usually have like metal things, how you get in, and then he was like taking a nap. I'm like, well, let me take a nap too. So it was just me and him on the bus. And then he got up, and then he looked up and he's like, "Oh, what are you still doing here?" I said, "Well, I thought you were going that way." I said, "What do I do now?" And he said, "Oh, don't get up. We'll go around." So it was a long roundabout because I was looking for that clinic. You see, I do stuff like that. I did that in London. I got on the bus and I'm like, I'm going to go until it ends. I don't know where it's going. All I can do is turn back. And they spoke English. Come on. And I can speak Spanish to the driver. I'm good. I'm adventurous that way. You can see the country like that. Bocas del Toro is a must see. Now, we had all of these riots. Everything is calm. It's gorgeous. You need to visit. David, Boquete, yes. Drove to Volcan, Cerro Punta. That's where I'd gone. You call Tierras Altas. That means the tall highland, right? They call it. That's where they make the geisha coffee. They make a lot of coffee in that area because the temperature is just perfect. The coffee here is amazing, okay? Durant, Palo Alto, mwah, beautiful. I live in Bella Vista and love it. Yes. Oh, Frederick, I'll talk to you because let's see, where did I go? After I met someone at Micaela Coffee on Balboa, I said, oh, let me go to Ray. I was, eggs and something. So I walked to Ray. That's why I was like, oh, I like Bella Vista. And I also had been to Antonasi or something. It's like another coffee shop. I like it there. They do have a Reba Smith, although it looked really old and stuff. I haven't been in there, but it's very nice, very nice. Bay Vista, Panama Bayview, wonderful. I plan to live 6 months Panama, 6 months US. Can I re-rent my condo when I am in the US? Can you rent your condo? Of course, my house is being leased. I went home in February wanting to sell it, but the market tanked again, so can't sell it. I enjoy my time in David. Yes, I appreciate. And they have Dolega. They have a bunch of Paso Canoa. I think Paso Canoa. It's on the edge of Panama and Costa Rica, and you could cross the border that way. But when I crossed the border and got in my trouble and got fined, I had been in Shanginola, which is another area where you can cross. Okay. I mean, I like quiet and chill, but I don't want to be in a place where if I need to go anywhere, I have to hire a driver. I don't want that. I want to be able to, because now, we have two lines for our metro, line 1 and line 2. Line 1 go from Albrook, takes you to San Miguelito. Then you change from San Miguelito all the way to Tucumán, past the airport. And then there's another stop, you can go to the airport. So I show people, like my daughter came, I went to the airport, swapped my Metro card for 35 cents and went to the airport for 35 cents. When she came, we came back another 35 cents. So, but now they're working on line 3. Line 3 is really to help the bottleneck in Panama Oeste. Panama Oeste, Arahan, La Chorrera, Costa Verde, and all these places that have grown so much. When people work in the city, sometimes they have to get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to change 2, 3 buses to come to work in the city. So it's really hard. So line 3 is going to bring him to the city a lot quicker. And part of that line is going to go under the Panama Canal. Oh, I can't wait. It's so cool. And it's going to have a stop in Panama Pacifico, which is the one that's 20 minutes out. So they're going to have a stop there. So if you wanted to consider that area, you're going to have that option of the train. But right now, you can still do, Uber. Uber will take you there. It's not that bad. And I think eventually, excuse me, eventually someone told me they're going to do a line 4 because San Francisco. And I'm like, who was the planner that there is no metro stop in San Francisco? San Francisco has buses, but no train, no metro stop, which is odd, right? And then they're working on a fast train. I said bullet train. Someone corrected me. I think the speed was so many kilometers per hour, but this is a plan that's going to have a fast train from the city all the way to David. Because right now you can take a 1 hour plane ride from here, Panama City, to David. And we have airports, the main airport here in Panama City. Then you have airport in Rio Hato, which is not too far from here, like maybe 2 hours drive. You have airport in David, and we have airport in Bocas del Toro. So you can fly back and forth. But if you're driving to David, it's like 8 hours on the bus. Maybe if you're driving yourself, it might be a little less. I took a bus to Bocas del Toro from Albrook overnight. It was 11 hours. It wasn't bad, except in the middle of the night, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, the fog came. And these buses were driving in the fog. And I never sleep when I'm driving long distance like that and I'm watching. And then they were in the mountain, the curve. Same thing happened to me in Peru. I took a 23-hour bus ride from where I went to, what is it again? In Cusco, when I went to see, oh my God, I can't even think. But it was 23 hours in the Andes Mountain in the middle of the night with the fog and the dew. Woo, dangerous, because they're coming around and you can barely see. So I said, I'm not doing that again. Not again. So 1 hour ride from Panama City over there is worth it. Worth it. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Anita. We appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Nurse Clayton. Have you established emergency contact? Absolutely. Now, our group is a sisterhood. And in SWRA, what we say is that we want to create community so that we are accountable to each other and help each other out. And emergency planning is a big thing. I did a whole program about that. We show you, I think I need to go ahead. You have to do your emergency bag so that if you needed to go to the hospital in a hurry, you have everything in there, clothing, and you have a folder in there with your name, your contact, your emergency contact. Emergency contact, you need to have somebody local that if there is a problem, they can call and say, can you come get Maggie? She's in trouble. And then my contact at home, which is my daughter, that's her contact phone number is on there. Your medication, your allergies, your doctor, the doctor's name, right? So you have your emergency bag in a place in your apartment that is visible so that if somebody were to find you, this is the thing with us as we get older. And trust me, the same thing happens in the States when people are living alone, that there is a chance something happens to you and there's nobody to pick you off the floor. Sometimes it's days before they find you. And what can I say? This is part of life of growing old, of what I call the individualism, right? The kids move away and grandma and grandpa, whoever, they're sitting by themselves in a house. Your risk of falling, have a stroke, heart attack. We keep finding people here 2, 3 days later. Personally, I don't really have a problem with that. What I worry about is being in pain where you have no contacts. So in addition to the bag that I talk about, people are being encouraged to put like an emergency contact form on their door on the inside so that if somebody, whenever you're leaving your house, you can see it with your contact information. One of our sisters bought something at Amazon. It's a little card where you put some information and then it's got like a little tag and you put it on your not your wallet, your bag that you carry with you, so that if you were to fall in the street, they can look at that. It's red and they can see your information. Very important. Your doctor, your allergies, your medication, your medical condition. You may have passed from low blood sugar. So somebody will know to give you some sugar, right? The other thing that we add to our emergency plan is our funeral information. I had somebody from a cremation funeral home come talk to us and say, you can pre-buy your cremation plan. We're signing up. Her information is in there. That means if I die in this apartment, she's going to get the ball rolling by calling my doctor. That's what you do here. You don't call 911 first. If you're alert, you're conscious, you call your doctor, and your doctor gives you direction as to where to go, which is different from the States. Okay? So, all that information is important for us as sisters who want to live here. Even if you're going to be a snowbird, you want to have an emergency plan because stuff can happen to you here, right? Because if you die at home here, they find you. They have to call your doctor to come and pronounce you, do the death certificate. And then the funeral people would have to go to tribunal, tribunal to get the formal death certificate. They can transport you to the funeral home, but they can't cremate you until they have that. So it's a process. And you guys need to understand that things don't work the same here as they do in the States. What we encourage you to do before you move abroad is to do your will and your create your okay, this is the word I always forget, your estate, right? um what is it again? It's right, it's not just your will, because if you don't designate, oh, what is it again? What do you call that? My brother was yelling it at me last time when he was here. But you don't want things to go into probate. You need to get your do not resuscitate, all your stuff done over there. When you come here, you have to do it over because the laws over there don't apply here. So you have to get your attorney to draft you another document that talks about who's responsible for you, and they don't understand do not resuscitate here. So don't worry about it, sis. Just know that you have to do those legal papers over here, okay? Right, because you're older. And people die young too. So it's not old people only who need to do that. Is Volcan in Panama? Yeah, Volcan is outside of Boquete. Beautiful place, beautiful place. You talk about David being chill, that one is even chiller. Mhm. Lots of land, beautiful, fresh air, lots of, very nice, very nice. The Reba Smith in Bay Vista is the oldest one in Panama. I looked at it. I was looking for it one time, Frederica. I passed, and I remember seeing the R, and then I'm looking. I'm like, is that it? But I didn't go in. It looks so old. Reba Smith is not a favorite store of mine. I go there when I can't find something other places. Jose Riba and Lloyd Smith. This is the original. So they need to keep it as it's a historical thing. I started a daily family checkup after hearing your emergency preparation. Yes. But sis, even if you do the daily checkup, that doesn't help. You could finish doing the checkup and an hour later you're on the floor. Okay. What we're looking at right now is that we don't have the button, right? And even if you did, it needs to ring into a center that's being monitored. We don't have that here. So the best thing that one of our sisters bought a phone here. It is a Chinese brand phone. And then she bought the watch of the same brand. And they got paired. So all her information, her contact from her phone is also in her watch. I guess the Apple Watch would be the same thing. It is water resistant, so she takes showers with it. It's with her all the time. She said if anything were to happen to her, as long as she's conscious, there is one button that she can push for her contact, and then all she has to do is punch because I'm her contact. It would be punched, and then Maggie, it would ring, and then I would rush, right? So we're thinking that's the next best thing for us expats and older expats, so that if something were to happen to us in our apartment, solo living, right? That way we have access to call someone in an emergency. But if you laid out and you're unconscious, that still doesn't help you. Now, a lot of people, like you say, your daily contact would be great because if they call you the next day, you don't answer, then you need to know who the local contact is here, right? To call. But by that time, you could be gone. You have to understand that. None of those things are foolproof that we're going to catch you in time. And you have to be okay with that. Can anyone join SWRA? SWRA is a local organization that is designed to help sisters who are retired here full time. That means you're no longer working, and Panama is the place you've chosen to retire and die in, right? You can't be a snowbird anymore. In the beginning, we were taking people who were like 6 months here, 6 months there. So you have to be retired and be physically here to join SWRA. All right. I've got the watch and they have all my business. Good. Make sure you have your contact people, your next of kin. And then in terms of contact, you need to have local and you have to have your contact at home, your family, whoever. For me, it's my daughter. And then over here is my friend Sonia. I'm hers, but you know, her kids are calling her all the time. My kids are not that touchy feely. They don't call me all the time. We do have a WhatsApp group for my family, but we're not in it every day. So, but you know, I am of the mindset that if I go in this apartment, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. Any other questions? Let me see if I missed anything. We talked about SWA, how to get here. You know, your visa, you know how to do that. Everybody, these lawyers, I don't know how they keep up because there are a lot of people coming here getting that pensionado visa. And we don't know if they're going to change the requirement, only $1,000 to qualify. That's pretty generous. And then you get the discount. That's amazing. In terms of work, people ask about work. Panama has what they call a list of protected professions. And most of the professionals are on that list. Like as a nurse, I could not work here. Doctors, lawyers, they can't work here. Those jobs are reserved for locals only. The only way you can work here with this profession is if you're hired by an international company and you're just here for a while, right? And they manage your, they're paying your salary, your benefits, all that, yeah. Or you can do something remotely, something online. And Panama is not taxing you for income that you earn while you're physically here, as long as it's remote, right? But that's not the case for some other countries. So make sure, whichever country you're considering, that you may have to pay taxes on everything you do here. We do have some people that I know of who are still working part-time remotely, people like counselors, social workers and stuff, mental health professionals. They're still working, financial planners and stuff. Yeah. Mhm. Anything else? Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, oh, 2 hours? Wait a minute. Okay, we have to stop. Oh my God. I just saw that. All right, guys, did you find this helpful? You know, I can do it every week if you guys want, but I think we answered questions about healthcare, definitely, emergencies. It was long. Yeah, I just noticed that. Can you buy property? Absolutely. Yes, you can buy property. But again, because of our age, you know, I'm 67 and I'm like, okay, if I buy property, uh, best way to buy is cash. You know, you can get a mortgage, but it's more complicated. Um, and then people tell you you buy, but it's hard to sell. Let's say something happens to you when you die, then your children, it's all kind. It's a tight process. and properties just don't move here that quickly. So, oh, thank you, Deborah. Did you learn anything? I mean, you've been here. You're welcome, guys. Oh my God, 2 hours. You know what? I can't run my mouth for a long time. That's terrible. It's my pleasure. So maybe I'll do one once a month, for maybe other people might appreciate that. But I just know I don't need to be doing it every week. I cook live on Sundays, so I think that's enough. You're quite welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here with me, and I hope I helped you by answering some of the questions. I still absolutely love Panama. I think it was one of the best decisions that I made. Oh, Deborah, I know. People say they go back home and they can't wait to get back. Panama has that effect on people. It's just such a chill, nice place. I met, like I said, one person who said, well, I wasn't impressed. We're like, okay, well, stay over there. You don't need to come here because we're all happy. All right, guys, have a beautiful evening. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you have planned. And I'm just going to do the same. All right? Au revoir. Bye bye. A la orden, Frederica. I'll see you. Buenos días. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. A la orden. Ori. Oh, I like that name. Good night. Good night. So long. Farewell. Adieu. Adieu to you and you and you. I love that movie. I love that movie. Sound of Music. I used to love to watch that. Yes, you can buy property in Panama. And I know some people who rent here in the city and then they have a condo somewhere on the beach somewhere. Just too much to keep up with. I don't want that. Mm-mm. I just want my life to be simple. Simple, and I can just get up and go anytime. I don't want to be tied up with a bunch of things, stuff, furniture, and all that. Mm-mm. And most of the apartments are rented, furnished here. That's what I want. Yes. I don't want to have to buy all this stuff. I did have to buy a dining room table and chairs. So if I have to move, I have to find someone to move that too. But I like my view. I don't think I want to move, but oh boy. Tough decision. All right, guys. Bye bye. Au revoir. Good night. Already bought my ticket. Ah, oh, good. December is a good month. Yes. From November to like January, we just party here in Panama. November, you have all the Independence Day and all kind of Martyr Day and all kinds. So you have marches, polleras, dances, fuego artificiales. It's like there's something going on. Then December, Mother's Day, December 8th. Then you have Easter, not Easter. Then you have Christmas. Then you have New Year's party. That's when it's like really loud and the music never stops. Okay. Yes. They tell you the same thing in Ghana. They say go to Ghana in December. Party, party, party. But I'm not a party person, but I just love all the activities, concerts and parades. I love that. Panamanians love to parade. And they always have the band with the tamborino. It's okay. It's okay. Thank you guys. Bye bye.